Hello everyone and welcome to chapter 3 lesson 2 comparison operators. Here in this lesson we are going to learn how to use comparison operators in where clause. Comparison operators are used in conditions that compare one expression with another value or expression. This is a list of comparison operators that can be used in where clause. So we have here the equal, we have here greater than, we have here greater than or equal, smaller than or equal. We have here smaller than and greater than, that means not equal, or we can use not equal. We have here between, and we can specify between the lower value here and the upper value, between two values. And we can specify here a list of values like comparison operator that used for string search pattern. And the last comparison operator is null for searching for a null value, or we can use is not null for searching for not null value. Let's have a look at this example. Here we want to return all departments where the department ID greater than or equal 90. We want to return the department ID. As we can see, select department ID, the department name, manager ID, location underscore ID from table departments, where department underscore ID. Here we are using the comparison operator greater than or equal 90. And this is the output of running the select statement. As we can see here, the department ID of all rows returned by the select statement, as we can see, greater than and equal 90. Here in example 2, we are using a comparison operator n. Select department ID, department name, manager ID, location ID from table departments, where location ID in 1800, 2700. Here we are using, as we can see, the comparison operator n. If the location ID is one of the values specified here, the record will be returned by the select statement. If the location ID equal 1800, the record will be returned by the select statement. If the location ID equal the second value in the list, 2700, the record will be returned by the select statement. So if the location ID is one of the values specified in the list here, the record will be returned by the select statement. You can specify here many lists. Here we are specifying two values in the list. So as we can see, after running this select statement, it returns these records. We have here one record where the location ID, as we can see, 1800, and in the second record, as we can see, the location ID is 2700. Let's take another example. Here in this example, select last name, salary, department ID from table employees, where salary between 4,900 and 7,000. So here we are using a comparison operator between and. Here we specify the lower limit, and this is the upper limit. If the salary between this value and this value, the record will be returned by the select statement. So as we can see, this is the output after running the select statement. The salary here, as we can see, between 4,900 and 7,000. All salaries, as we can see, between this value and this value. Here in example 4, select last name, salary, department ID from table employees, where last name like. Here we are using the comparison operator like, and after like here between single quotations we specified the string search pattern or the wildcard string search, and percent used with like to represent 0 or more than one character. Underscore can be used also with like to represent only one character. So here this condition where last underscore name like m%, that means return all employees where the last name start with M capital. This percent here represent 0 or more than one character. So if the name of the employee is M, it will be returned by the select statement. If the employee last name is M1, for example, it will be returned by the select statement. If it is, for example, Matos, it will be returned by the select statement. As long as the employee name starts with M, the record will be returned by the select statement. Percent, as we said before, it represents 0 or more than one character. The character can be anything. It can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 9, it can be 8, it can be C, it can be D, it can be anything. 0 or more than one character. So as we can see, after running this select statement, the output here, the last name, as we can see here, is M capital, and here also M capital. So as we can see, the last name starts with M for all returned employees, and after M here we have, for example, 1 2 3 4 5 characters. Here 1 2 3 4 5 characters. Here we have, for example, 4 characters. Here also after M we have 1 2 3 4 5 characters. So percent represents 0 or more than 1 character. It can be any character. If there is an employee name, for example M1, also it will be returned by the select statement. If there is an employee last name, for example M12, it will be returned by the select statement. MA, it will be returned by the select statement. MAH, also it will be returned by the select statement. As long as the employee name starts with M, M% means returns all employees where the last name starts with M. Let's take another example here. Select last name, salary, department underscore ID from table employees. Here where last underscore name like underscore I percent. As we said before, percent represents 0 or more than 1 character. Underscore represent 1 and only 1 character. So it reserved for only 1 character. It can be any character. It can be 1, can be 8, can be C, but only 1 character. So if we want to read this condition where last underscore name like underscore I percent, that means we want to return all employees where I is the second character in his name. Underscore represent 1 and only 1 character, then I. That means we are looking for employees where I is the second character in his name. So after running this select statement, it returns the following output. As we can see here, I is the second character in his name. As we can see here, I is the second character. Underscore represent 1 character, so here we have here H, we have here G, we have here K, here H, here M, and so on. So the first character can be anything because we are using underscore. And then after the I, following the I, it can be 3 characters, 2 characters, 1 character, anything because we are using percent. So here after the I we have 5 characters. After the I here we have 3 characters because percent represent 0 or more than 1 character. Here we have 2 characters. Here we have 4 characters following the I. Here we have 2 characters following the I. So this is how to use underscore and percent for string search pattern. Let's have a look at this example. Example 6. Select last name, job ID, department ID from table employees where job ID like IT slash percent, escape, and here we have slash. As we said before, underscore represent 1 and only 1 character. It can be any character. Percent represents 0 or more than 1 character. The character can be anything, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, anything. But if we want to search for the percent or the underscore itself, for example, if we want to search for employees where the job ID is IT percent, I am looking for the percent in the job ID. I am not looking for IT1, ITA, ITC. I am looking for the percent in the job ID, where the job ID is IT exactly percent, not IT anything. I am looking for percent in the job ID. So if we want to search for the percent itself or the underscore itself, we have in this case to use escape character. We can put here after like and our string search pattern here, we can use escape and we can define our escape character. So here we can specify our escape character, for example slash, and then use this escape character, for example the slash, before the percent or before the underscore. So that means where job ID like IT slash percent, don't process percent as 0 or more than 1 character, process the percent as an actual percent. So that means we are looking for employees where the job ID is exactly IT percent. So the escape character used before the percent and before the underscore to process the percent and underscore as the actual percent and underscore. Here you can define anything in the escape character. You can put, for example, slash. You can put, for example, question mark. If you put, for example, question mark, here you can put instead of slash question mark. So after defining your escape character here, use it before the underscore and the percent in the string search pattern. So after running this select statement, as we can see, there is no rows retained by the select statement because there is no any employee where the job ID is IT %, exactly %. But if you run this select statement here, select last name, job ID, department ID from table employees where job underscore ID like IT %. Here in this example, because we don't use escape character before the person, that means this person is represent 0 or more than any character. So as we can see here, it retains 5 records. IT underscore prog, for example, here IT underscore prog. So this is the % represent 0 or more than any character. In the last example here, select last underscore name salaried commission underscore PCT from table employees where commission underscore PCT is null. If we want to search for null values, we cannot use equal null. If you replace is null with equal null, the select statement will retain nothing. If you want to search for a null value, you have to use is null. And if you want to search for not null values, you can use where commission underscore PCT is not null. So after running this select statement, as we can see, it retains all employees where the commission underscore PCT, as we can see, is null. So in this lesson, we learned how to use comparison operators with where clause. I hope this video was informative for you, and thank you for watching.